NERDSoul.
Yeah. Lay ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's go. It's evil time, y'all. Oh, yeah. You best believe that. And we not by ourselves. Solar Gray, say what's up.
Hello, everybody. This is Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And I guess we're here to teach them how to dance in 3 steps.
Oh boy, dance and dance they shall. You know what? First, before we get to dancing, I'll say this: evil. That's how you end the episode. That's how you end the episode. See, now you guys are ending episodes the way anime ends episodes. You know, that's what I'm talking about. You that's how you end the episode. Get me coming back next week. This is how you do it.
Well, you know, that ending answers a lot of questions. Because every time you see that kind of ending, and we'll talk about it when we get to that part of the show, I guess. But every time you see that kind of ending, you're wondering, how long were they there? And the answer is long enough.
Yeah. Like for the rest of the day until they got home. But you know what? I'm going to go on and get into the story of Sheryl. All right. Reggie, also known as Grandma, also known as the woman that be getting on my nerves ever since the beginning of this. Sheryl, I'm glad that you are angry. I'm glad that you're coming to this conclusion. I'm glad that you are this fired up and, how should you say, motivated in this situation. But I would be remiss if I would not uncover the facts and the receipts that brought us here. See, your daughter said, leave this man alone. All right. Played you the tape of him talking about that kid going to jail. Gave you many examples. And then you saw examples of your own self of where this dude is evil. And you thought somehow your granddaughters would be protected. You thought they would never see any... Come on now. Did you really think Leland cared anything about those girls at all? Sheryl, come on now. But I'll throw it to you. How are you feeling about Sheryl right
now? Honestly, I'm kind of split. Because you know what? You right. On that sense of, oh, Sheryl, like, you work for the bad guy.
Yeah.
And why are you expecting the bad guy to not be bad? As they would say, in one of my favorite archipelagos, and in all anime, what karimasen? Karimasen! If you think that working for the bad guy ain't going bad guy, why would you think that?
You've seen a demon. All right, you've seen one. He's just working upstairs kicking it. All right, you've seen one. You see it like, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week. You went and brought him like biscuits or something. All right, so you know that this is the baddest of the bad. But for some reason, you just don't listen. You're still sucking your granddaughters into this continual casual disobedience, which is, even if we're gonna go away from anything that's spiritual or religious, that's just morally degrading them at a very young age. Even if you're gonna take God, all of that out of it, still you're poisoning them slowly against their mother.
Bro, that's part of the game. There's another show that deals with sort of this mythology of Satan and the kind of Christian and Catholic good versus evil paradigm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that show was The Demonic Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, I never. What's that on?
Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I believe that was.
When they came back on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was
it
another.
wasn't.
That's another thing that was in my listing. Like I never ever watched.
It
But
wasn't the Melissa Joan Hart comedy, bro. It was
oh,
comedic, if you're like me. Um, but when she had to sell her soul to Satan, because that's how witches got their power in this show. Satan's like, all right, when I call on you to do something, you do it.
mhm.
And you know what he called on her to do?
What?
Steal some bubble gum.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah.
Just like, yeah, no, go to the store,
Quote. That's it.
steal this bubble gum. You know, because that's the whole thing. A lot of folks have this idea that evil and evil and temptation and all that stuff, corruption, WS, just all that stuff. A lot of people have this idea that there are these grand gestures, like there's this big old Bohemian Grove type ceremony with a big statue and a bunch of dancing and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm choosing those examples for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
Not just because I go to Burning Man from time to time. They think that that is the way to succumb to evil and to sell your soul and all that other stuff. But it ain't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure someone's doing that somewhere, but it's really the casual and continual degradation of
Yeah.
your character.
It's called death by inches.
Hmm.
We saw that in The Sixth Sense with
Oh,
the
yeah.
woman that was poisoning the little girl. It was just 1 or 2 teaspoons of Lysol in her soup. But eventually it built up and it killed the little girl. You feel me?
Hmm.
And that is how it actually works. So, Sheryl, she might have did the grand gesture, because finding out that she works for that company to keep youthful looking, and don't get me wrong, as far as grandmas go, she can still get it. She's not like all hunched over and Aunt May from Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man thing going. She's not Marissa Tomei, but she's not a bad looking woman, especially for someone who could be in their 70s or 80s. We don't know how old Sheryl is.
Yeah.
So if she sold her soul for that, okay, vanity, the whole plot of The Devil's Advocate, we're there. However, doing the stuff with the kids with casual disobedience, keeping secrets, wearing away at the respect that they have for their mother and the rules, yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Just starts with a little thing, then a little more, then a little more. And then once a couple of them hit like 16 or 17, every other sentence out of their mouth is, I hate you, Mom. I wish you were dead.
Mhm.
I mean, that's standard teenager. But yeah, she knows
It's-
what she's doing.
Yeah. So her realizing that, putting 2 and 2 together really quickly, and having that scene at the end of this episode pays off a lot for me. It pays off a lot for pretty much everyone who's probably been following the show. So that was very good. I still don't like Sheryl, but I do like how they paid that off. Also, Sheryl thinks she's slick by hiding that buddy up in the closet. No, good and well, she put it up there. But we gonna let that slide. We're gonna let that slide for now. Because,
Yeah, almost like Leland thought he was slick by putting a little thing in the girls' room.
mhm,
And
trying to be slick.
that's kind of the part that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Sheryl to see that she's just as bad. There's no justification. There's no doing bad under the premise of I'm a good person type of thing.
Well, also because, oh God, to defend Leland could say, you the one that has an obligation to your family, not me. You should have never came to us when you knew who I was. See, the devil ain't gonna lie to you. Now the devil gonna stack the deck against you and make you think this is the only option. The devil may present things different. But the devil ain't going. No, he like, you knew who I was, and you still came over here. So
Or even
to
if you
to
didn't know
give him
who
a
I was
defense, even though I don't like
before,
Leland, he could say that, and he would be right.
well, Leland could be like, even if you didn't know who I was before, you know where you're at.
Yeah, you know that.
Like there's this, I didn't know, I didn't think, I didn't. We are bad.
Yeah,
Love
super
don't
bad.
exist in this company.
Oh man. But yeah, I thought that was a dope part of this show. They paid off a lot, and I guess we're probably going to be getting a lot of payoffs because we have like 8 episodes left after this one. We got 4 left, and then there's an extra 4 to tie up everything. But I wanna skip to this because since I believe because I'm the only believer that covers this. I'm well only on this show. Um, so I I wanted to say a couple things when people get you confused up, make you think that they know what they're talking about. So we come up on this cover, right? And the girl comes, the lady Isabella comes into the confessional with David. And this whole episode, they're trying to make this kind of like whole man woman thing where it's like, well, I can see your argument, but you're making it to the wrong guys. But I guess okay, whatever. If you want to have that, fine. But she says when 2 or more men, it's God. When 2 or more women, it's like, oh no. God never specified a gender. God said when 2 or more are gathered in my name. You're trying to make this like don't. But see, if you don't know the word, they're gonna have you running around chasing your tail.
Hold up. I can't believe you're putting me in this position. All right, so we are literally falling on a 21st century discourse problem. Okay.
True. I feel you on that one.
All right. The 21st century discourse comes down to this. Are you arguing, or is the person talking about de facto or de jure? Okay, here's the difference.
Okay.
The word does say when 1 or more are gathered in my name. Okay, it is true. However, that is de jure. That is the letter. That is the word. That is the letter. That it even comes down to law. Okay. And I say the de jure is a lot of the law. And what a lot of people do in discourse, and this is why I hate talking about stuff online, is people jump back and forth between de jure, the letter, and de facto, which is the common practice.
Okay.
The word says whenever 2 or more are gathered in my name. But the practice has been, especially with the Catholic Church, that when 2 or more men are gathered, it's a church.
True.
Okay.
And see, since I'm not Catholic, there is that. Even though this is Christianity, it's not practiced in the same way. So it is slightly different because I'm coming from, I'm from the South. I'm a Baptist, so I'm coming from that angle. But nobody.
Know any woman deacons?
Yeah, there's female deacons. I've known female deacons and kind of throughout my life.
That's one of the big things, because for the longest time in Western practicing of religion, women were allowed no power, no position, and no public face. That's why there are monks and nuns,
which is also another misuse of the word, and they usually try to attribute it to Paul, but Paul was speaking to a very specific group of women in a very specific city. He didn't say that this is for every woman that ever exists for the rest of their life, but of course in practice, like you said, it gets used to blanket all women forever and ever, amen.
Hey, just like the whole not witchcraft thing, that wasn't really a thing in the Bible or the Torah or the Quran until King James, who had a thing against witches. He's the one that had that whole "thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," and "thou shalt not divine." It was that king who had his own version of a Bible, cut and put into practice.
Not cut and print. Beautiful guys.
Yeah. So I'm being up there. So, as far as her point, she was making a point, that could be argued from a de facto state. In the same way,
yeah, and for the Christian, for the Catholic, so yeah, you're right. I keep forgetting that it's not the exact same.
Yeah, because I'm just putting that out there, because whenever men like you and I start talking about things like WS, people go on. There's no law in the books that says you can't because you black, and that is de jure true. Atwater made that clear. You can't say that word.
Yeah.
But de facto,
Then also we can pull up. I mean, of course, you know what? I should start bookmarking all this stuff. But we can also pull up literal statements from congressmen, from vice presidents, this, that, and the third, speaking at their like fundraising dinners, talking about how they're going to use these rules and laws specifically for us. But that's a whole another thing.
And religion has done the same thing as far as women goes throughout the century. I'm just, I'm putting that out there.
No, you're right. That's why I say it's usually attributed to Paul. I can't remember. Paul wrote a letter. Women was wilding in this one church in this one city. So Paul basically said, look, tell them to sit down. But because he told them, now everybody says, oh, well, all women. It's like, no. He was talking about them. That's why when you read the Bible, you have to realize, or you have to
there was historical context involved.
Yes. Yeah. You have to define what they were talking about, who they were talking to. So was this a thing where this city was bad, or these particular people were bad, or is this something for everybody forever and ever and ever?
Hey man, I paid very close attention to the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing, because I'm like, those cities just look like they were partying a little too hard for too long. And
oh boy,
I'm
partying a little bit,
and that whole story had nothing to do with the LGBTQ community. It had everything to do with non-consensual practitioners, because that was a lynch mob that showed up at Locke's door. Like, hey, who's that in your house?
All right, cool. Now, off of that, I also want to go, because there's a statement. Isabella is really cool in this episode, and we'll talk about the troop as a whole, because I want to hit this. All right, so Isabella talks to David, and he's like, it was a demonic spirit. So she says something to the extent of it wasn't demonic, and then he said that it told him to shed his God, and I'm trying to remember exactly how she said it, or how he
pray to it.
Yeah, shed your God and pray to it. Now, at least from David's perspective, I'll say at least from David's, and I'd say probably from mine. Anyone who's reading the Bible, anything that's telling you not to believe in God and instead pray to it, that's definitely not of God. So it might not be a demon, but it is definitely not of God. And if you're a father in the church, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to pray to that. I don't know the full Catholic rules, but I'm pretty sure you ain't supposed to pray to that. That's probably rule number one, is pray to only regular God.
I'm really glad that you shared your perspective on this, because as you viewers know, I'm not what they call a believer. Long complicated story. Come to my channel if you want to talk about that. Actually, just hit me up an email. I got no problem talking about it. But one thing I definitely know, and it's with our people specifically, is that binary thinking.
Okay.
If it's not of God, it specifically has to be of Satan.
Okay.
And I'm like, I think the universe is a little bit bigger than that. Based on my readings of the Bible itself, and of the Torah, and of the Quran, and of quite a few other books. It sucks being a scholar sometimes. I'm gonna just tell you. I'm gonna just be real with you on that. And there were some points that were being made, and with David's perspective, his wording, again, his de jure, I wasn't down with, but his de facto sentiment, I could be down with. You feel me?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because, it was like, it wasn't a demon. Either way, it told me to quit my job.
Yeah, it told me not to pray to God and to pray to it, and to make for it in a sense to make it my God instead of my current God.
Yeah. So it might not be a demon.
Yeah, you can call it what you
I'm
want,
still
but it's
not
not
interested.
Good. Yeah.
And I definitely do. I got to give this show props for actually, in its final season, bringing that part up.
Cool.
A lot of shows that deal with, God, I don't want to say mythology, but the culture of Catholicism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it means to, but it very much puts this idea that my perspective is the perspective, my tradition is the tradition. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of like, that's never really worked in a world this big, y'all.
Technically, keep your point. Sorry. Technically, to their defense, it's their whole belief. Like they kind of. I mean, I guess you can see it a different way, but it's almost like that's kind of like even in Islam, if someone's like, oh yeah, but you don't have to like follow Allah like that. It's like, well, that's kind of like their whole thing.
Are we talking global Islam or NOI?
All right, man. All right. Since I'm a brother, don't get me started on NOI. I don't have a.
No, I don't want them coming for me. That's why
I don't have a particular problem with the brothers.
Hey, you know what?
Look, sometimes
I'm like Charles Dudley in society, bruh.
Sometimes, like y'all, like I don't. Sometimes it don't seem like y'all really following, like y'all supposed to be following.
Hey, you know what?
But then y'all be the main ones to jump on Christians. Like, okay, I'm gonna jump on this point and jump off. All right, so I've seen brothers from the nation or the fruit, whatever each one you. I've seen them in and out of adult entertainment clubs. I've seen them drinking until they get drunk. I've seen them getting high. Everything's all good. They hear a Christian curse, and then all of a sudden they're all on their back. It's like, oh, I see. Okay, if you want to count that, I got you. It's cool. But are you still considering yourself a Muslim? Because it seems like you're sweeping around my front door, but all y'all doing this, and I'm pretty sure y'all ain't supposed to be doing this. But I'll leave that alone. I'll go and leave that alone.
You know what?
I'll let it go.
I'm not that guy. What I'll say on that subject is this. When I was young, my sensei looked at me and said that every martial art is perfect, and every practitioner is practicing to understand the perfection of the art and to become as perfect as in practice as the art is in itself.
Okay.
All right. So that's where I'm with. Now, part of human imperfection, and I gotta say, Western civilization, more than anywhere I've ever seen, is this need, this desire to be over someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of our cultural curse, you know, because there's a lot of things I am better at than other people, but I come from the school of each one teach one. So if I'm better and I see that you're not as good as me, I'm like, hey, how can I lift you up?
Yeah.
Not, oh, cool. How can I keep you down so that I stay up here?
Or if I'm not keeping you down, at least I can make fun of you for a little bit.
No, that's a way to keep someone down.
Well, true.
You know.
Sorry, when I think of keeping down, I think of like actively blocking them from something, like access to something. Like,
okay,
yeah.
like
But I see what you're saying.
situationally or
It's still,
physically.
yeah.
Never discount emotion, my friend,
True.
because demoralizing is honestly the most long-lasting way to hold back progress.
Oh, real quick, keep that point.
Yes.
I know I brought up sins for the Nation of Islam, for Fruit of Islam, stuff like that. Do not mistake the fact that I brought up sins that no one does sin. What I'm bringing up, let me fill this out. The people that I'm referring to are not struggling against the sin. They are just sinning. There's a difference.
Are you
a difference.
talking about the hypocrisy of individual practitioners?
I've seen a culture of that.
Okay.
I'll say that. I've seen a culture of that. There's this looking down your nose at Christians from those two groups while they sin and not struggle against sin. All of us struggle with sin, but we struggle against it to overcome it, to free ourselves from it. In many cases, I've seen them just sin and it's excused for some reason, and somehow Christian sin is not excused. But I'll jump off that topic. So it's not the fact that you sin. We all sin. I'm pretty sure I sinned today, did something that maybe I didn't know or I did know. But it's the struggle against that.
Okay.
Some of these people ain't struggling. They just wallowing in it and finding justifications. But anyway, go back.
Okay. So, wait, where was I? Oh, the hypocrisy of the practitioners or something. Anyway, so we were talking about, we got on this whole subject about Sheryl's interaction with the kids. And that in and of itself is fantastic to me. Because in all honesty, I don't even see her as someone who's trying to corrupt the kids with malice of intent.
Huh? Okay.
There's this thing that I talk about when it comes to a lot of my problems with people. And it is, no, I don't think that a lot of the people I've interacted with over time hate me. I don't think that they want to see me fail. Okay. I don't think that the people that I've interacted with have malice toward me.
Okay.
They just love themselves so much that they don't care if I'm harmed in the process of them getting what they want.
So it's not even like a thought.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, oh, yeah, you got hurt. Well, that's bad.
Yeah, but I needed that jacket.
Say, oh, well, I'm sure you'll get one.
That's pretty much how I feel about that statement of, you be all right. Or you be all right. Because that was very much my family. My family did not have malice toward me. But they were so selfish that they really didn't care about the harm they caused others, like their children or their cousins or their brothers, in pursuit of what they wanted.
Got you.
And that's where I see Sheryl. I don't think she's trying to corrupt those kids. I just think
She's just like, I want to be with my granddaughters, and I should be able to be with my granddaughters because I love my granddaughters.
Exactly. Now, if being with my granddaughters means I bring demons into the house, hey, whatever. We'll deal, they'll deal with the demons, but I'll get
They'll
to
be
see my
all right.
grandkids. Yeah, exactly. You see what I mean? That was
They'll be all
perfect.
right.
You know what? If I bring demons into the house, it'll be all right. But I get to see my grandkids. I. You know? And that has been Sheryl in a nutshell. And anything that keeps her away from her family, including morality, or the fact that her actions cause them danger, she either brushes to the side or completely eliminates. And she would eliminate the danger that she puts her family in if the thing causing her danger no longer gave her what she wanted, like youth, power, money, and her family. And if it costs her family but keeps the youth, power, and money, then she'll just have to figure out how to get her family another way. You see what she's at? It's that kind of thing. And that's Sheryl in this show is a fantastic example of the banality of evil. A lot of people are thinking corporation and Leland, these terrible, terrible people, and this whole Illuminati-based conspiracy theory. But the evil that really affects folks is Sheryl. Because there's more of her than anybody. And the company is actually making her worse. So I honestly think that Leland, or her finding out how bad Leland is, will put this character at a choice between redemption or all out corruption. This is the Anakin Dooku fight that she's coming into now.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I can see. You know what? That's dope. And like I said, this was a good way to end the episode. I like seeing this. I don't like Sheryl too much, but I'm feeling that it's this being a huge crossroads for her. Because it has kind of brought her choice right up in her face. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Now, since you're an artist and I'm an artist, this episode is awesome.
A former dancer at that.
Myself too. Also an artist, drawing. I've done comics. I've done art. So I want to say this. I cannot stand the pretentious art scene. I don't care where there's charcoal drawing, sculptures, paintings, dance. The pretentious art scene. So I've never been able to say I cannot stand. The funny thing is, like, they think they're the deepest thing in the world. They're about as deep as a kiddie pool. But I've never been. Oh my God!
So
I was splashes of paint represent the swirling universe around our minds and the glory in our hearts. It's like, oh God!
So I was thinking about something like that a little bit earlier today. Okay.
All right.
Like, seriously, I was doing dishes and I was thinking about this. And I am seriously conflicted because growing up, learning my crafts, learning my arts, learning music, dance, acting, writing, all of that stuff, right? I was taught to get good at the production of things. But notice, I said former dancer, former performer, okay? And that's because I got the skills, but I heard something back in 2003 that just kicked me in the mouth. And you know what that was?
What?
Making an album is easy. That's the easy part. Seriously. You can go back to the lab, you can write your lyrics, you can write your You can write your chord progressions. You can learn the songs. You can teach the songs to the rest of the band or to the producer. You can do all that stuff. That's the easy part. The hard part is selling it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what a lot of artists never learn is how to sell their work.
True.
And
Because
it's
shoot,
disgusting.
Howlin' Wolf. I just saw the clip floating around a couple of days ago again. Howlin' Wolf was like, they always want to talk about how to make some music. Look, here's how you make some music. You drink that bottle over there, and you turn it on, and you start singing, and that's the album. Oh boy.
Hey, you know what? Considering I still listen to Lead Belly, he ain't wrong.
But yeah, you can. I could lock in the studio. Me and a producer, we could get it right. About a week, album's done, no problem. Probably even got some extra tracks, no problem.
Now, getting
But-
somebody to pay for it,
Yes,
you
the
know,
marketing and the photos and then the touring and then the scheduling and where you going to
And
stay
see-
and how much does it cost to travel and
and see, that's the thing. That right there is the birth of the pretentious art scene. Because all the dancers that were on that stage were amazing. And I'll get into the main one.
yeah.
Yeah, but all of them.
I mean,
were
shoot,
great.
even Catherine in the jail was good.
Well, Catherine in jail was amazing, and Katja Herber is a dancer. I'm glad they put that out there. I'm like, okay, she even looked at her and she's like, you look like a dancer. I'm like, I've been saying that for 2 seasons. But that stuff that we hate is the sales pitch. And the thing about the
Yeah.
pretentious art scene is that they are on all the time because there is an ethereal market, okay? And when I say ethereal market, I don't mean, well, yeah, there's a market to go. No, I mean, there is no physical market to go to. You don't go to the art store to buy art. You go to the art supply store to buy art supplies.
Yeah.
You go to the record store to buy art, but there's really no marketplace to sell your art, especially if you're not with an agency or a manager.
Or have some corporate backing or something like
Yeah.
that.
So these artists, specifically dancers and playwrights and visual artists, like people who draw and work with paint, if you are in a place where you can see what they do, you are a potential customer. Therefore, you shall get the sales pitch, whether or not you want it. And after about 3 years of that, it's no longer a sales pitch. It is their language.
Yeah. Like you're with them and they're always talking like they're at a museum or something. And you're just like, man, look, can we just chill? Like, oh God. But
Well,
but
that
it
was
makes a
actually that was shined on in this episode.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
with
like the
psychiatrist.
the psychiatrist, because we have a piece with the psychiatrist and with the dance teacher. Which one do you want to hit first? Because both of them have great examples of the pretentious art scene.
Let's hit the psychiatrist first because
Oh,
I get a feeling that
Dr.
most of-
Boggs.
yeah, because I get a feeling that most of the listeners here are closer to writers and comic artists than they are to modern dancers, musicians, and actors.
Yeah. And remember, guys, it's not just modern dance. You got break dancing, you got tap dance, you have clogging, there's salsa, there's ballroom, there's tango, I guess
I
technically
get
ballroom
you,
can
but the
kind of
stuff, but the
balloon
kind of stuff
everything.
that this choreographer we're doing, and we'll talk about it, is really concentrated in modern
Yeah, very
jazz
modern.
and ballet.
Yeah.
Hip hop dance teachers don't do like that because hip hop dancers might lay you out.
as a hip hop dancer, when I first went into a friend of mine's jazz class, I was like, "This isn't what are y'all? What is this?" I was like, "What is this? This dance?" But I had to learn. I learned. I got more flexible. I learned.
You
I
learned the
stayed
language, and then you saw a Michael Jackson video and went, "Oh, right," or a Janet Jackson video, or Paula Abdul video.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, that stuff was always that kind of like
You can say it, white people
dance,
stuff.
like musical dance.
Yeah,
Like those are the dances they do in musicals. I mean, it's not, at least at that time of my life when I'm 10, 11, 12.
yeah.
I've been dancing, but I've been dancing like at school or on the street. So like coming into the studio, I'm thinking, oh, you mean that like that's like musical dancing? That's stuff they do for musicals. It's like that's not real dance. I mean, it's dance, but I mean, come on.
But it ain't my style. It ain't what we do.
But it was cool. It was cool because it opened me up to like ballet, and of course, being at that age, you're coming to a certain age, and of course, dance studios are overwhelmingly a certain population. So, being around there, I was
That's
not
changing.
mad.
That's really changing.
Yeah, but I mean, at the time, I wasn't begging to leave.
Yeah, see, being a theater kid,
I was like, so it's only like two of us in here. Oh, word.
yeah, being a theater kid, I always got it. I'm not a big fan of dancing. I don't like it, but I was better at it than I was at sports. Because growing up without a father and with my older brothers being so much older than me, I got no male attention. Like none. Okay. It was, oh man, just go away. You're the little brother, go away. It was always go away.
So they weren't that close. They weren't close enough to be like the tag along little brother. It was more like, you're just too young. I don't care.
Yeah. I'm chasing girls. I don't have time to teach you the rules to football or baseball or basketball. So I grew up not knowing how to play those sports because I didn't know the rules. Like the first time I played football, I'm like, well, if we're just trying to get the ball over there, why do we start here? Why isn't there somebody over there? I didn't know I was offsides.
You're like, can I just go over here? No, you can't. You can't go over there.
Yeah, and the rest of the team, because this was at school during PE, I almost
Everybody's
got jumped
yelling
for
at you.
doing that. Yeah, and I'm like, what? I don't know this. How can you not know this? How can you not know what the speed of light is? Because nobody ever taught me, fool. That kind of thing.
Oh man. But we got so in this we have Dr. Boggs.
Mm-hmm.
He's still workshopping the book, y'all. All right, he out there still workshopping the book. Look, the girls read it, they love it. All right, so the girls, we already know they love it. All right, he had the little demon carousel toy, taught him all the skills. So now he's bringing in a young man. He's like, look, I want you to read my book. I want you to give me the skinny, break it down to me. And he was like, but you're paying me to like, so that's not this. I mean, this could also be very biased, but you want me to. And the thing is, when you want someone to be honest, no. When someone says, I want you to be honest with me, I won't say 9 times out of 10. Let's say 7. Let's say about 7.
Seven's fair.
7
is fair.
I'm pushing an 8, but let's go 7 times out of 10. They really want you to like it. Or at least like a
100% of the time they want you to like it. But 7 times out of 10, they want you to tell them that you like it.
Yeah.
That's what they want to hear.
Like, my man said, you ain't got no plot.
Well, it's interesting because I've had many of those meetings, okay, with my writing. And it showed me a really interesting truth, which kind of made me sad. There needs to be a plot. There needs to be motivation. He just tore it apart, probably in the same way that all his stuff had been torn apart. But what happened when it went viral?
Yeah. See, so this scene or this piece of this episode is perfect. So you have Dr. Boggs that says he wants truth, but when he gets the truth, he completely rails against it, and he's like, "You're crazy. You don't know anything about anything. Get out of my office," and almost physically attacks him. But he said that's what he wanted. He didn't really want that. Now, then the other guy, like you said, probably tore his stuff down at that level because he was probably torn down at that level. But then when it's a hit, all of a sudden, we always loved you.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
It's like those old friends that don't mess with you at all until they see you on TV.
Mm-hmm. And then in this case, then you also have the other side of the game where you have, I guess, creators, because they are creating this kind of like I guess you could say motion comic kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these creators looking at your creation and saying, "Oh man, they need some, I'm gonna, voice it or something like that." And then they do it, and then it's a hit. And then it's like, of course he knows these girls and it's not a situation where he's trying to get their money, but you could look at it in another way and be like, hey, like, okay, thank you, because I'm glad you liked it enough to do this, but hey, you're making money off of this, and I need something from this.
Where's my piece? I wrote it, and you published it without my permission or knowledge.
And then I love how they
feel like a black dancer on TikTok
from the mind of Dr. Boggs.
What? Oh, from the mind. Yeah.
It's like, hey, at least I did get my credit, and it's it's got over 500,000 likes, and so that's this one scene, or not scene, but this collection of scenes kind of really puts together a large part of the creation and the delivery of art. You get pooped on a couple times, then some people see it, that they really dig it, they put it out, and they're like, "Oh no, actually a lot of people like it." Because since we have the internet, you don't need, it
has access to a huge audience.
Yeah, you don't need 7 billion people to like your stuff. Like that's why we're having more and more
7
millionaires.
billion people to see it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's why we're having more and more millionaires every year we come around. Because say if I'm selling a thing for $10, back in the 80s and 90s, I would be out my trunk and that would be it. But now,
just need 100,000 people.
If my Instagram is on point, or my Etsy is popping, or my my Facebook marketing, or whatever it is, or my YouTube is crazy, shoot, I don't really have to have a crazy audience. I don't have to sell 500 million units, because I'm just one person and I don't have a staff, and my office is my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sell 100,000, not 500, but not 500 million, and I'm good.
Well, that's what Prince was talking about at the end of his career.
Yeah, shoot, that's what E40 was talking about back in the 90s, and I remember him talking about it in an episode on Rap City.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they would talk, the interview, I think it was Joe Clare, but he was talking about the money he makes, and he kind of laughed, and he was like, well, when I do a show, when I sell my CD, all that $10 is mine. When some of these people are selling their album, they getting a couple pennies for that $10. And I didn't fully get it back then. Oh, but I get it now.
Oh, I got it 100%, but math was always my thing.
Like, cause I was like, okay, so he get all 10. All right. So what's the big difference? They're both famous. It's like, oh yeah, they're both famous,
yeah.
But they ain't both paid.
Yeah, exactly.
You go talk to countless people in the music industry where you were under the idea that they were paid, and they like, no, I was famous.
Yeah, talk to Scarlett Johansson and then talk to Robert Downey Jr. and see what happens.
Shoot, talk to TLC, talk to like any of those folks. Like, look, what they do with TLC? What they gave them some geo trackers.
Yeah, dude, talk to Hammer.
Yeah,
Hammer got hammered.
So that whole scene is serious and rife with a whole bunch of interesting contracts. I'll just say that. But Dr. Boggs, of course, what is he going to do? Go right back to the muse, right back.
Well, he went back to the keyboard.
Well, yeah, went back to the keyboard. So
back to the lab again. Oh, there goes Rabbit.
So we had that, but then on the other side, we have our, how should you say, maybe affectionate. Maybe that's not the best, but we have an affectionate dance teacher that, of course, wants perfection.
Are you talking the choreographer?
Yeah, not Isabella, but the I think his name was Hassan or Kassan.
All right, so
the dance choreographer, dance teacher, dance instructor. This.
All right, so
the guy that has to demean you into greatness.
All right, so he was a definite pass out, and this is big, and this does affect our culture because we've had a couple of kings, but he was a fantastic send up of Bob Fosse. Bob Fosse was the director and choreographer for things like Damn Yankees, Chicago, Cabaret, and his pseudo biopic that he wrote and directed, by the way, is the 1976 movie All That Jazz, starring Roy Scheider. And
okay.
And yeah, he was to dancers what Gordon Ramsay is to cooks. All right. However, there's a scene in All That Jazz where he's just railing in on one of the dancers, and she's crying and talking about quitting the show, and he says something that hit me like a ton of bricks when I was young, which is, I can't make you a great dancer. I can't even make you a good dancer. But if you keep going and don't quit, I can make you a better dancer.
Okay.
And she's like, are you going to yell at me again? He's like, yeah. I mean, that was straight up him. But all the dancers that came out from under him ended up being legendary. I mean, he came from the school of Fred Astaire, but he was neck and neck with Gene Kelly. And fact of the matter is, he's one of the people that Michael Jackson learned a good amount of his dance style from, which means Usher too, and Paula Abdul. Matter of fact, the video Cold Hearted Snake from Paula Abdul was a direct homage to the erotica scene from All That Jazz, written and directed by Bob Fosse. And that's who that guy was supposed to be. Yelling and screaming at his dancers, pretty much saying, yeah, get in that pose. Now, why can you do that here and nowhere else? What, y'all feel abused? Leave. Raise your hands, get out.
Yeah, now I'll give it to them because they chose to be there. But as Father David, I'm gonna keep it real. You better watch who you're talking to. I ain't one of your little dancers. All right.
Yeah.
I ain't one of your little dancers. So you better stop. You better watch your mouth.
Not just not one of your dancers, but I don't have a desire to ever go in to that world. So watch your mouth with me, because I'll break your legs.
Yeah, like don't get hurt. Back up.
I might be a priest, but look at me. I'm still Michael Coulter.
Yeah, like back up. Check your tone a little bit. Just relax. Like, don't get hurt.
I got my white lady friend here with her camera.
Oh man. She was like, I'm gonna film you torturing your students. Because it's tough, because there's a lot of the demean you into greatness. It happens in everything. In sports, y'all are gonna do push-ups till I get tired.
Mhm.
In any form of martial arts, when you see the sifu or sensei or master or whatever walking around with a little bamboo stick, it's not for walking. He's about to wrap you in them legs if you ain't doing the pose right.
Or
If
if
you
you
or
are, but part
if you
of
miss the
that art
count, the
is
whole class is starting again.
yeah.
No, the,
Now,
no.
it's actually funny because my old sensei used to trick us because we had our opening warm up and it was all about push-ups, right?
Mhm.
And he was like, "Yeah, we're doing 20 push-ups." And so I would struggle because push-ups have never been my thing. And then when we got, we'd count them down or,
Mhm.
we'd count them up in Japanese. And then, but we'd only count them by tens. So, it'd be like, ich, ni, san, yon, go, horoku, kichi, hachi, kuju. And then he'd be like, last 10. And then we'd do 10 more. And he'd be like, last 10. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago that he's like, yeah, that's how I tricked you on to open it up with 100 push-ups. Because if I had told you that you're doing 100 push-ups, you would have quit.
Man,
But continuing to say, last 10, these are the last 10.
man, a
You can
couple
push
months
through
ago,
10 more.
I was in the gym in class. It's like we're gonna do 10 push-ups. So I mean, I was like, all right, cool, 10 push-ups, no problem. I do that all the time, no problem. 10 push-ups. He was like, up, down, up, one. I was like, excuse me, that's two push-ups.
Military. Yeah, military push-ups.
I was like, excuse me, that's two. That would be two push-ups. Keep those elbows in. Stop putting those elbows out. Putting all that pressure on your shoulders. Keep those elbows in. Use those triceps.
Yeah.
How do I remember those things? Because the coaches, whether it's dance, whether it's kung fu, whether it's karate, taekwondo, baseball, basketball, whatever it is, someone is going to be checking your form and probably beating the crap out of you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not beating the crap out of you, like in sports, what they'll do is say, you guys are going to run, walk, or crawl, but y'all are going to do laps until practice is over. And it's like, hold up, what? Practice just started though. Just because Andrew did something, so we gotta.
But see,
all you hear is that whistle,
difference, though.
whistle blow once or that whistle blow twice. That's it.
Well, see the difference though, and this is really what it comes down to with that dance choreographer. Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai?
Yeah, that's true.
Because
there is a thin line. There's a difference between pushing someone with pressure, but as the seafood, knowing that this is pressure that they can take, they just need to know that they can take it, and someone who's kind of like enjoying just beating down people that are beneath them.
Well, again, that's the Cobra Kai and Miyagi thing, because real talk, Mr. Miyagi needed that fence painted. He needed those cars washed.
True that, yeah.
But Daniel also needed to be broken down and built back up. Now, was he screaming no mercy? No. He was just like, finish the job. All right, come back tomorrow. It's that gentle push versus that hard push. You feel me?
Yeah.
And
didn't he was like, oh yeah, you just got to paint the fence. He was like, oh cool, I can do this. He was like, no, all that.
And then Daniel got done and he's like, both sides?
He was like, ah.
And again, that's that last 10. That's that gentle thing. That's that you are being broken down and built back up. But does it have to be with cruelty?
Yeah. Oh, matter of fact, speaking of being broken down, all right, so I was doing my forms, and I think I mentioned this in another show where I was like, I was doing my forms, and Sifu was like, I don't want you to do this section of the form. I don't want you to do it at all. Only do this part of the form. Like, do the first form, not the second form. And I'm like, what do you mean? You like, we do the second form. You taught me that. Why would I not do that? Like, and so I was like, all right, fine. First form, no problem. So the other day, we're talking, and he's like, "All right, guys, I want you to go and do the second form." And I'm wondering, I'm like, "Well, why are we doing the second form now? I thought he's been so hardcore about not doing the second form." And he comes in and he's like, "Guys, I'm glad that y'all are looking so good. Y'all are getting a lot better. We're gonna clean this up." And, you know what I'm saying? Some of y'all still look bad, look like trash, but it's all good. We're gonna get a broom and a dustpan. We're gonna sweep it up. He was like, "But all of you guys know Form 2 in here, so it's good." And he said the reason he's been so hardcore on us only doing Form 1 is because on the day that I was doing it, he was like, "There's a lot of people in there that don't know the second form." And he doesn't want them seeing us doing the second form and doing it incorrectly. He was like, "You don't do the whole form incorrectly. There might be just a small thing that you do that you don't know that you're doing wrong, but they're watching you." He was like, "I know you probably don't think they're watching you because you're like, hey, who cares about me? But you've been here longer, so they watch you." And I was like, "Oh, I never thought about that." Because you're in kind of your own world, doing your form, looking in the mirror, making sure that you're staying as at least as tight and as perfect to the form as you can. You don't think that there's other people paying attention to you. I mean, not outside of seafood to come and be like, "Oh, that's wrong. Move your foot this way. Put your leg, straighten your back. Put your shoulders down. Whatever." But yeah, you never think like, "Oh yeah," because there were a lot of people that do form 2 beside sort of the teens, because and also this school is also starting to blow up because my son is with the kids that are like, say, 12 and under. Then there's a group that's like 13 to like 16 or whatever, and then there's like the adults, and the teen or preteen kids are watching us, but I never paid attention to them watching us because I'm like, they have their own stuff to do. They got their own push-ups, their own stuff to do. But yeah, they are watching us. But in your mind, you're like, nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about me. Like, nobody's looking at me. And he's like, no, they watch you guys. So that's why we're all in here today. All of us are on the same form. So we're going to do this here today and get it clean. So I was like, okay, understood. So it wasn't a situation where I'm like, man, he pushing us back down to the first one.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's something that I always try and let people know, but they don't like hearing it from me, which is the student is not teaching the class. And I hear that from a lot of people like, "Man, no, I already know this stuff. Then why are you taking the class?" And then when the teacher makes a decision, a lot of students like to, what's the term? They like to act as though they wrote the curriculum, and I'm like, you didn't write this class, let the teacher cook.
Yeah.
Trust the process. Or
I'm the kind of student that, like, I'll get angry on the inside, but I'm like, just trust the process. Mm-hmm. It's for a reason. Whatever the reason is, it's probably good. I don't like it, but fine. Form number 1 again.
Okay.
But I don't say that out loud.
I look at it, especially when I'm paying for stuff like dance classes and martial arts classes or music classes or acting classes. I look at it like I tell my therapist, I came to you because you're the professional. I'm trying to learn what you know. So I'm going to listen and I'm going to do what you tell me. But don't think I'm not going to question. My question is, why? What I fail to see? What am I trying to... What is the reason for this? Of course I'm going to do it, but I'd like to understand why I'm doing it.
Yeah. And see, when you get in the military, there is no... The understanding is, do you understand that I said do it?
You want... yeah, they kind of stretch. You understand these stripes on my arm? That's why you do it.
Oh, man. So, all right, back to the goodness of this show. Another, I guess, like the last big part of this show is that we get, of course, the High Evolutionary back, and we get some more remote viewing.
Okay, I'm glad that we were talking about this.
Yeah, because I think this is the last big part of the episode, which is the remote viewing. I mean, there's small stuff that we may have like skipped over or kind of like touched into like a kind of like a passing way, but the remote viewing is the other real big part.
Yeah. Well, not just yeah. Let's get into that, because the remote viewing part, that's big.
Yeah, and it
Very
seems
big
like
thing.
David's getting better at it.
Not just better.
Oh yeah. Sorry, not just better, because it. I wanted to ask you how you felt about that scene, but how do you feel about the High Evolutionary and Luke Cage on the screen working out their entity dealings, aka the James Bond of the Vatican?
All right. So it's fascinating to me because I'm not sure where I sit with the High Evolutionary, especially in regards to the ending. Okay.
Yeah. I really like him. I still really like him.
In the last episode, there was something a little weird for me.
Okay.
And that was his change of attitude. And it kind of came out here again, where he'll switch gears. In one sentence, he's like, what, this is not a request. I'm showing you that I got cast as the High Evolutionary, but I was in line for Nick Fury, but Sam said yes before they called me. You know? But then he switches gears to this jittery, kind of weird dude. You know? I mean, you saw it from, plane takes off at 8 to him being in the Vatican and opening the door in last week's episode. And in this episode, you know, he was trying to keep that whole Nick Fury thing going. And then David's like, oh, by the way, there was this, and this. And he's like, what?
Mm-hmm. That Sigil popped back up too.
Oh,
it seemed to shake him to a certain degree.
Like, he didn't have much of a poker face, you know, but then his poker face is not having a poker face. So he's very good at misdirection.
Yeah, you know? I'd agree with on that one.
Cause but yeah, it was very much when he was like, okay, and oh man, yeah, he's in Ethiopia. We tracked him down to this. David, you saved lives, you know, type of thing. And that whole thing of committing sin to save life, yeah, it's cool. And the way that Ben and Kristen looked at it was like, you sure you're on the right side of history, bro?
Yeah, and see, I'm interested. I'm surprised that he used it in that way, because at least from someone in the entity that's, you know, highly in this like religious setup, I wouldn't consider that sinning as much as I would consider that justice, and maybe even righteous justice. But, you know, I mean, of course, Bible and its many different changes of the guard, we'll say, when it comes to basically God be like, go in there and kill everybody. Like, you know, it can be interpreted in different ways. It can be interpreted metaphorically. It can, you know, anyway, but I'm surprised he didn't term that as something that was just, no, this is just. This is us stamping out evil. This is what we do. Like, so I'm surprised he didn't say, yeah, sinning is like, no, well, I thought someone like you would consider this the, you know, the decimation of evil, or at least a type of evil, and that is considered just.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also a different perspective, which is something that we actually went over a little bit earlier, which is his character the type of dude that's like, I got a non-believer and a psychiatrist here, and it looks a whole lot like they are more concerned with pointing out hypocrisy than actually doing the job, so I'm not even going to engage.
Yeah, because it's weird. They're brought in to be objective, but in a lot of cases, especially since we see what they've gone through and what they know, they spend more of their time just trying to be anti for the sake of it. I guess because that's supposed to be their role. And I get it, but like we said, like Kristen,
Well,
Ben, you've seen things. So
what
now
I
sometimes it
actually
does seem like you're kind of being anti for the sake of.
now what I kind of look at it as is they seem to be straw people, like they're straw manning um the non-believer thing, and I think that's a writer's thing.
Okay.
In the sense of there's this big old argument. You can see it in stuff like God's Not Dead, where if somebody
Okay.
says they don't believe, the straw man version is, why do you hate? It's like, oh, you're an atheist, so why do you hate God? And it's like, not a maltheist. Gotta believe that it exists in order to feel anything about it. And I don't feel anything, you know. Not to say to your viewers that I am an atheist. I'm something else.
Yeah, you're just saying like it's
You
weird.
know.
That kind of goes back to your de jure de facto thing. Like
Yes.
technically, an atheist is just someone like I don't believe anything is there or around. It's just just
Yeah.
space. Nothing happens. But unfortunately, in many cases, on and offline, atheism it's more like this
It
combative, arrogant attitude towards religion.
and this is that whole thing that I talked about at the beginning where that whole Western civilizations thing of wanting to be over someone. It's
Ah,
that nature of power over versus power with,
mm,
you know? Um and again, it's like, how can I put this? I said I was something else. I'm not a big fan of religion,
mhm,
but I am a big fan of good. You know what I
gotcha.
mean? So, so I'm literally that guy that's like, you know, um, I look at a person's works and be like, all right, no, they cool. I can mess with them. I can hang with them. You know, um, I know, I know a few people who are Trump supporters that spend their time trying to make sure kids get adopted, spending time at homeless shelters, trying to get funding for job programs and stuff like that. You feel me?
Okay.
They're not just the ones you see on Fox News, you know. Um, and I know a lot of conservatives that talk a lot of them Christian values, and like you said, are out in the club. Um, they treat people like garbage, and you know, I knew one that married a chick who already had a kid and treat the kid like crap because that ain't my kid.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, don't you follow the book that straight up says, "Suffer the little children unto me"? I'm like,
And
aren't
you could have
these
just
your
like
rules?
not been, you could have just like not married her and then you wouldn't have to worry about this.
See what I mean? You know? So there are people that go along with what the preacher says and the stuff that goes along, again, with what the book says. And then there's the people that go along with what the book meant, you know?
Yeah.
And
Because there
when I
is a
say
big
what the book,
difference. Yeah, I'm glad you said there is a big difference between kind of like what's said and what's meant sometimes.
hey,
Or like even when we talk about translating, like, like say if someone speaks Spanish and someone speaks, I don't know, Italian or something like
yeah,
that, the translation, you can't always translate the literal, you have to translate the meaning.
hey, I make it very clear. I don't speak Aramaic. I don't know where I can do Aramaic. Now, the Torah and the Quran, I kind of listen to a little bit more because those languages have not changed very much over the past 2000 years. And So they're a lot closer to the original writing. So there's that part. But when I say, like, what's meant in context and stuff like that, I didn't expect us to go into this kind of theological episode.
Well,
But
I mean, since
when you
this
take
show is, this is a,
Yeah.
it's a show.
Yeah, and it's
steeped in
dealing
religion,
with this,
so
it's dealing with this stuff. But like when you look at the word of the man himself, the stuff written in red, when you really look at it, he was kind of gangster. He was hanging out with thieves and streetwalkers. Like the disciples were not good men,
nah.
not by
Now-
the standards of the time.
Now,
So
with that said, let us not forget, because I had to. Someone tried to say this one time. He was like, "Well, yeah, Jesus hung out with these people," and I'm like, "Yes, he did, but those people never changed him. He
Yeah.
changed them.
yeah,
So
just
just be wary of who's doing the changing.
yeah,
Or maybe just not be no change, but it says to be in the world but not of it. Because
right.
God knows you can't live in a bubble.
Right.
He understands that. But yeah, like Jesus was always, he dropped knowledge for everybody. It wasn't
Exactly.
it wasn't like, well, also that was a big thing when he came. When he came, remember, at the time, only the Pharisees, or essentially the priests, only
Yeah.
the priests had the phone number to God. So only basically the priests had made themselves your God. But that's another thing. We'll let that back, because I know we got
that's
remote
kind of the
viewing.
thing, and this is actually kind of one of the aspects of that show that they're doing really well, and it's making me kind of suspicious of the High Evolutionary and Vicini, because
Okay.
if you notice, ever since they brought Sean Wallace on and made him the main priest, most of the cases about exorcisms have been involved in people that already don't think they need an exorcism. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, because usually someone else is kind of saying, hey, they need an exorcism, not like them calling out for it.
And he seems to be the boss that's like, no, I'm bringing you in there to substantiate that it's not that. Because every person they've talked to under his watch has been, no, I don't think it's that. No, I don't care about that. What I care about is this. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, because you said many times where he's like, all right, guys, hey, look, I don't know. So you guys go over there and look at it and just let me know what y'all want to do.
And it's like, did he bring something back with him when he died in second season or what? So I'm guessing that he's going to be the twist.
Maybe.
Or the High Evolutionary is going to be the twist. And
I hope not, because I like him.
Sigil. That thing with that sigil, I'm like, well played. Because it actually threw me for a loop. It got me. And I'm way more cynical than that. Seriously.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
did.
oh, that was good. That was good. That was,
Yeah,
all right,
it was
very well played.
like, we had I guess you could say we had the sort of connection between the natural and the supernatural, because Ben's like, hey, look, but hers isn't like hers. It's upside down, kind of like she did it herself. And then look at the hand, it's soot. So it's like, oh snap, she did it herself. I guess to throw it on them, but I guess at the time she was like, okay, these people are getting way too close because they've tracked me down. So I got to throw it off on the other ladies. But to a certain degree, I wonder if you would have just laid low and not said nothing, would they even have? I mean, yes, Ben found you, but you could have done something like, I'm so scared of them, I just want to stay away from them, kind of thing.
And it does raise the question. They are involved with the Muse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do they constitute a third side to this? Because we got the angel that talks to David. Okay, we got demons all over the place.
Yeah, demons just run them ragged.
But now we got this Muse, and Mythologically speaking, muses are neutral forces.
Well, you do have, I mean, the Bible does say that, we struggle against powers and principalities. It doesn't say it's more than just demons. There are other powers and principalities and then people in high places. So there's,
And see, that's the
so I
point that
mean,
the dancer
a
was trying to
muse
make
could
to
just
Michael.
be a muse could just be a power that is kind of there,
Yeah.
and it could be dangerous, and it could be like nothing.
And honestly, that was kind of the point that sexy dancer, okay, we get it, she's hot,
Not sexy
Um,
dancer.
was trying to make to David. With the, there's a lot more than just your version of good and evil. I want to know what she said to you. you know? Because yeah, it was we got the muse thing going, and it begs the question, why is she trying to get the dancers out of the way?
Yeah,
You feel me? Because if you
now
go all
we
the way and look at the
answer
plot,
that.
yeah, if you look at the plot, the whole plot, it was okay. It's easy to say that her character had done what she did to the black lady in the beginning, okay,
Mhm.
and the dancers are an easy scapegoat. However, even the dancers were like, "Oh no, we got rid of her even before what's her name joined the company. Like she was always bad news."
Yeah. It's
And
like
it
we
was
didn't like her. She got on our nerves. She messed things up. Whatever it
She was
was.
a prude. She was doing
Yeah.
all this other stuff. So it begs the question: where do these dancers actually fit? Which means, what side is the muse on? Like maybe, just maybe, the psychiatrist has gotten lucky. Because if you notice, she came to him while he was reading the Bible and just didn't do the demonic natural thing again.
Hmm. And they're always telling her to wear all white.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, without being super deep in it, I'm sure you know, but with me having a small brush with it and then not messing with it ever again, there is, I had an experience. I don't mess with that stuff. But but there, I've heard at least people that claim to be witches make a distinction between white witches and witches that practice dark or black magic.
Yes.
So since they're always wearing all white, and since they asked Chris to wear all white, and then the muse is wearing all white, maybe this is like a white witch that's like, I'm a witch, but I be doing cool things.
Well,
I say that with a sense. He says with the question mark, hoping that it's not evil.
Well, I mean that's looks like the place that it's going. And of course, you brought up the Wiccan thing. I'd like to bring up Santeria, Candomblé, and those ladies that are always yelling the Bible on the corner on Saturday and Sunday afternoons with a megaphone by my house.
Oh man,
you know the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know where their temple is, or else I'd go, I'd visit, I'd do some reading of literature, because that's just how I roll. But so the fact is, this show is called Evil, but it doesn't really focus in good or evil.
Mm-hmm.
It goes with demonic, which is evil, and everything else. Unless Sister Andrea's around, in which case it's evil and Sister Andrea.
So maybe the Sigil, I don't know, maybe the Sigil stayed close because they always needed a scapegoat, or maybe the Sigil didn't like something else receiving praise that it wanted. I don't know.
It's a good question, and we may never get the answer to that, because
the show like this, and a show like this will never. And the High Evolutionary got rid of her quick.
He just straight up came in. Yeah, you may as well take credit for it, because and she got dragged off. Like all that was missing from that scene was a black bag.
Yeah, and my thing to the High Evolutionary is like, hold up. Like I know it's posthumous, but Can we clear that lady's name? We'll never. Don't worry about that. The story's not here for that.
Well, my major question is he going to tell David? You know, if David pops up going, so what's up with that sigil? And he going to be like, don't worry about it.
He'll probably say something like, the sigil did pop back up. We noticed and we found it. Thank you for finding for us. It's been vanquished. That'd probably be it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they dragged her back. He closed the doors and that was it.
It was straight up a Godfather ending.
Yeah. So
I mean,
this
may as well have been Diane Keaton at that point, because I'm just like, dude.
So you have that, and you have the I guess you could say the intervention from David with the jailer through remote viewing, because of course, like, he's thinking like, I killed that guy, I murdered that guy, but you didn't. All you said is he dropped to his knees and said, God, please help. That's all you did. So it's not like you said, God, I want you to stab him in the gut. Like, you did. Like, so I mean, in this case, at least how I see it, if this is God intervening on your behalf because of your earnest prayer, then this is just. And at least that's how. But I want to know how you saw that piece.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have one take on it from a morality standpoint or another. I really don't. The part that stood out in my head, all right, and this is the part that really messed me up, was remote viewing. Nah, son, you possess somebody. Like The Exorcist.
Yeah, because he's not really experiencing them. Is he experiencing what they're experiencing, or is he kind of possessing that person at that point?
At first, he was experiencing what they were experiencing, but on a tiny level, and we're talking Picard recognizing the paradox and all good things. Yeah, I'm a nerd. Come at me. He used that dictator's body. He stopped him from stabbing him before the prayer.
You're right, because I saw that as, sort of like divine intervention, basically God on his behalf. But you're right, that happened before the prayer.
Yeah,
when
David
he was
did that.
I think he was praying, but I don't think he had. No, he was just in there, but
watching.
I don't think he had prayed yet. I think he was just like crying or something at that time.
The thing that threw him into the prayer was him moving that dictator's hand. But then the dictator was fighting for control over his own body back, because he was going to kill that priest. And it was like, no, I'm trying to kill this dude. Why ain't my body working?
Yeah, you're right. Because I ran it back. You're right. He didn't pray. He didn't say God, please yet. He was just holding his hand out. So maybe he's not really experiencing. Maybe he's kind of sharing some kind of emotional or spiritual space. Because he did start speaking in that language. When he was singing.
Yeah, he was in that body.
So
he literally possessed that dude. And kudos to this show, because it's very, very rare. I can only think of one other story, and that was in the Discworld books, where we saw possession from the POV of those possessing, and not the people trying to exercise the thing that's sharing the body with a person.
Yeah, so you're right. He's not really experiencing. He's kind of there with them.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a situation. He's like, they're sharing that space. They're like, he's in their body.
And this was the first time that he decided to take control. And yeah, I'm like, The Exorcist committed a possession. Well played, writers. Very well played.
and then he wakes up out of the blue. But yeah, that man, guys, this episode was hot. We could talk
Yeah.
all day. It's dope. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw it over to the Wizard's Tower for a moment. Final thoughts and where can they find you?
Final thoughts is I cannot wait until Thursday. I can't wait until this next episode because I said this with our review of Discovery. These writers and directors, like this whole production crew, is producing this show like they got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I think
no, it's it. This is the end. They're
it's
not
always
going
a
to get
good thing.
canceled.
It's always a good thing when they know how much time they have left. Like it's not like a situation where you're on a roll and they're like, "Hey guys, fun is gone, you're canceled." These guys know how many episodes they have left, so they can actually end this thing. So
That's not where I was going with that.
Oh,
I was
word?
going
Okay.
with they're writing under the premise that they're gonna get canceled. So there's nothing that they can do that would get them in trouble. Because think about it. You're during your your first or second season, you can't bring out all the great ideas because you're still trying to get picked up for the next season.
Ah, got
But
you.
now they know they ain't getting picked up for the next season. So let's deal with the origin of man. Let's have the exorcist possess someone. Let's have a message written in blood on the floor. You know
what? Sheryl likes writing in blood.
Honestly, that scene misled me. I might have been tired when I was watching it, but yeah, that scene misled me because I thought she was casting. I was expecting like some symbols or stuff like that, not just a letter saying you're dead. I was hoping for some kind of incantation, other than you're dead. I was hoping for something a little more dramatic.
Yeah, man, this show came through. This episode came through.
It came through with leaps and bounds. So my final thought, I cannot wait until next week. I want to talk about that show. I want to watch the rest of this show. I am all there 100%. And you guys can find me at twitch.tv/BID_P. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, Solar Gray. Let the community know that we are there. All right. And seriously, let us know what you guys think. Because we have these discussions. Yeah, we talk a lot. But we have these discussions in front of y'all because we're expecting y'all to join the conversation.
Yeah, feel free to jump on in, Don't be scared. We're not mean.
So yeah, well, you're not mean.
Oh well, I'm not mean.
We've had some guests on this show where I'm like, bro, you ain't got to go that hard.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So yeah, that I'll turn that back over to you, man. What are your final thoughts on that?
Final thoughts are, if you've been watching this show since the beginning, it seems like they are starting to pay us off. And starting from like episode before last, maybe like episode say 4, especially last episode, interpersonally, and it seems like story-wise, they're starting to pay us off for all of the the hours we spent watching this show. And besides that, Kristen, normally I get on you for other stuff, but I'm gonna let that slide. I just want to talk to you about your mac and cheese. Okay. Put the box stuff away, baby girl. Put it away. Don't. No, I want. All right. There's a lady that she helped you find your missing egg. I am sure.
She can hook you up with a bechamel.
Yeah, I'm sure either her or someone in her family can get you to better mac and cheese. Your daughters will thank you. All right. See, first thing you bake it. All right, and it has like a little bit of crust on top.
The first thing is you need a good bechamel, or a roux if you from the South.
Yeah.
You need a good roux. You ain't got a good roux, you ain't got a good mac and cheese.
Yeah, you mix it in there with the noodles and stuff, and this cheese. Look, the women wouldn't let me in the kitchen, but I know they were doing stuff with cheese, and it's in a big like tinfoil pan. All right, it's maybe about 13 inches. You get it from Walmart. You get like 3 in a pack. Look, all right, you use that and you put all the macaroni and cheese in there, and then you put it in the oven, and then magic comes out. I don't know what they do. They didn't give me the recipe. Just
Oh,
like
and
there's stuff that women can't do, men aren't allowed in the kitchen. They won't let us in there. They're not even a taste test.
that's your family. Are you kidding?
They're like, it's
Like,
not done.
no,
I've
real
literally heard
talk.
the words "the kitchen's closed" before.
Yo, real, yeah. See, that's your. No, I suppose that's my family too. But
Grandma would tell you quick, the kitchen's closed.
now every family has that exception. I know because it's my job to make the peach cobbler, for the peach
Ooh.
cobbler and the cheesecake for the family gatherings when I
Ah,
go.
and yes, guys, Solar can cook for real.
I forgot you've had mine and my mom's cooking.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, like Sarah goes, yeah, I don't get that whole kitchen is closed. It's what you doing out there? Oh man, I need this stuff cut. What is it that you do with that thing? And I'm like,
But
hi.
I guess it swaps sides because we kind of like hold down the grill, and so I mean, I guess it's fair. I guess it evens out. It evens out.
Yeah,
Or
so
maybe
I'm
it's just like bugs, heat. Huh? You can have it.
yeah, but ain't gonna lie,
Maybe they
yeah.
actually got the better end of the deal and just never told us.
Nah, son, nah. Believe me, that kitchen, especially the night before the gathering, and if y'all ever been to the cookout, y'all know what I'm talking about. That night before, that kitchen is like 170 degrees Fahrenheit.
True that.
You in there all night.
They got the
Like, you don't
AC
get to
and the
sleep.
fan pumping.
Yeah, because you got to get the mac and cheese. You got, and you got, if you putting seafood in that mac and cheese, you got to make sure that the lobster and the crab is just right.
Yeah,
You
'cause
got to
you
make
can't
sure the
overcook it.
vegetables are good. You got to make sure the bacon is done. That oven don't turn off for 3 days.
You right on that one. I have. You're right. I've seen that oven on, especially when it comes to like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've seen that oven on from like Monday throughout the
Yeah,
so yeah. It's true.
because you tell me this: is there any other acceptable time for a black woman to hit her husband that is encouraged by the community? Any other time?
Yeah, man. Especially if
Because it's
they
like, oh man, my girl slapped me. Oh man, that wouldn't happen to me though. No, so seriously, bro, what were you doing? Well, she was cooking for the fam, and you went in the kitchen. What you expect?
Well, I just wanted
That's
to
what
sneak.
happened.
I just wanted to sneak one roll. Hold up.
No,
Roll.
yeah.
Was this a
You
roll
found
that
out,
had?
didn't you?
Is this a roll that had to rise and then they had? Yeah, man, it's one of my favorites. Yeah, you get hit for that.
And again, the whole community says, all right, you don't
Shout-
you only get clowned for walking in there.
Shouts
But
out
any
to
other
all
time.
the kids whose hands have been popped by wooden spoons, trying
And
to get
shouts
just a
out-
piece of food.
And shouts out to all the kids that got to lick the batter.
Oh yes. Oh, look. Whenever mom is making a cake or auntie's making a cake, you sitting around waiting for that bowl. Like, yeah. Wait
If
till she
nothing
finishes
else,
with
for
that
one of
bowl.
the things from the mixer.
Like, wait till she finished with that bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, y'all, look,
So,
we love
yeah,
all
but-
y'all. NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. And until the next time, look, be good and not evil, but watch evil because it's good.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.
And let the community know that we're talking about cooking on this one because they need to hear.
True that,
Especially
true
young
that.
bloods out there. They need to do not go in the kitchen
Yes,
3
please.
days before the family reunion, Thanksgiving, or Christmas
Man,
or Juneteenth.
Yeah, please.
It's
not good for
you. In
your
that
health.
kitchen, you're gonna get popped, and
Yeah.
there is and there will be no support.
And if you don't
The
get
other men in
popped,
the family won't even be like, oh man, no, you ain't gonna get a hug for that.
nah.
You just gonna be like that's it. That's all you getting. Then you
Either
gonna
that-
get then you gonna get the side eye for like
Yeah.
2 years.
if you're lucky, you won't get popped. What will happen is you'll get recruited into work that you didn't want to do. Oh, you're here. Go on down there and get that, and then go tell them I need that, and then go get the ice from back there. And you be like, but I see, I didn't want to do all this work. See, that's stay out the way. because you're gonna get
So now,
recruited into
and
work.
by the way, I need you to scrub these bacon pans down because we got another round. We got another round of sweet potatoes that we gotta make sure are all good. And we don't want to put them on that dirty cookie sheet. Although that cookie sheet has been brown since 1983.
Man, look, honestly,
They know
I
what they
don't
do.
I don't trust any baking ware that's clean like that. I don't want it brand new. That thing needs to have like burn marks to show that fire has touched has touched this pan. You know what I mean? This pan, thousands of cookies have come from this pan.
Dude, cookies, sweet potatoes, French fries.
Yeah, everything. Anyway.
But Nara, one brownie. Oh, you see what you did to me? You see what you did?
Oh man! All right, we out. We out.
I said Nara
We're
one.
gonna have our food podcast one day. We out. All right, peace.